This is Rohingya Vision News. Today is Friday, 7th March 2014. I'm Sarah Ahmed. Human traffickers have kept hundreds of Rohingya Muslim captives in houses in northern Malaysia, beating them, depriving them of food, and demanding a ransom from their families, according to the detailed account by the victims. Human traffickers have kept hundreds of Rohingya Muslim captives in houses in northern Malaysia, beating them, depriving them of food, and demanding a ransom from their families, according to the detailed account by the victims. The accounts given to the Reuters suggest that trafficking gangs are shifting their operations into Malaysia as Thai authorities crack down on jungle camps near the border that have become a prison for the Muslim asylum seekers fleeing persecution to Burma. Police in the northern Malaysia states of Penang and Kedah have conducted several raids on the houses in recent months, including an operation in February that discovered 4 Rohingya men bound together with metal chains in an apartment. But Reuters interviews reveal a trafficking network on a bigger scale than authorities have acknowledged so far, with brokers herding groups of hundreds of Rohingya at night over the border and holding them captive in the Southeast Asian country. The abuse in Malaysia is the latest operation against the Rohingya. They are mostly stateless Muslims from the western Burma, were attacked by majority Buddhists since the middle of 2012, have killed hundreds and forced out about 140,000 into squalid camps. Many of the tens of thousands of the Rohingya fleeing Burma by boat have fallen into hands of human traffickers at sea who had then told them hostage in remote Thai camps near the border with Malaysia until relatives paid thousands of dollars to release them, according to Reuters investigation published on December 5. Some were beaten and killed, others held in cages where they suffered malnutrition. The Reuters investigation found Thai authorities were sometimes working with the traffickers in an effort to push the Rohingyas out of Thailand because immigration detention camps were getting overwhelmed with asylum seekers. In January, Thai police said they rescued hundreds of Rohingya from a remote camp in southern Thailand. A raid they said was prompted by the Reuters investigation had launched a manhunt for the kingpins who routinely smuggle humans through southern Thailand to Malaysia with impunity. The intensified trafficking of the Rohingyas into Muslim-majority Malaysia threatens to undermine its anti-human trafficking record, which is at the imminent risk of being downgraded by the United States to a par with North Korea. It also highlights the porous state of Malaysia's 500-kilometer-long northern border, with thousands of Rohingya entering unhindered at a time when the government has taken a tough public stance against illegal immigration. For the desperate Rohingya, Malaysia is promised a land where at least 30,000 already live. The country does not give them full refugee rights but has allowed them to stay and register with the United Nations. Thousands have picked up work at the bottom rungs of the informal economy. Muhammad Inus, a 19-year-old Rohingya from Buthating Township, felt relief sweep over him as he scrabbled over a border wall into a group of 270 refugees in mid-February. About a month after he left Myanmar, the crossing took place at night using 2 ladders supplied by his captors. "I believed I could make money here," Inus told Reuters. His hope of freedom was short-lived. Handed to a new gang of brokers on the Malaysian side of the border, the Rohingya were packed into vans and driven to a house with blacked-out windows the traffickers said was in the border town of Padang Besar. Once there, the brokers beat Inus with long-winded sticks and threatened to kill him if he did not rescue a payment of $2,000 from his parents in Myanmar. This threat at Inus cries over the phone. His parents sold his family house for $1,600 and borrowed the rest from relatives, he told. There are no words to express how sorry I feel. Enos told the Reuters on February 21, just hours after the brokers dumped him near a market in the town of Bukit Martajam in Penang, ending his 8th-day nightmare in the house. Now we don't have land. My parents now have nothing here to live and have nowhere to live. Enos said the brokers in Thailand had told him he could pay a much smaller amount, whatever I wanted, to be released once in Malaysia. He said the refugees only received rice once a day in the house and were packed so tightly in 2 rooms that they couldn't even lay down. Abdul Hamid, a 23-year-old motorbike mechanic from Akyab in Burma, Arakan State, recalled similar conditions at the compound where he was imprisoned for a week with more than 200 others in the Penang. About 16 guards kept watch over him into 2 shifts. The trafficker's boss, a man in his 30s known as Razak, who wore a suit and steel-rimmed spectacles, regularly kicked, beat, and threatened the cowering prisoners. He said, "They said we don't have money to give you food. You need to get money if you want to be free," Hamid told Reuters in Kuala Lumpur following his release in mid-February. Malaysia, a labor-short country with an estimated 2 million undocumented workers that offers higher wages than its neighbors, has long struggled with a reputation as a haven for human trafficking. Like Thailand, Malaysia is at risk of being downgraded in the U.S. State Department's annual Trafficking in Persons report from the Tier 2 watch list to the lowest rank of Tier 3. The scale of the problem appears to have surged in recent months. "It is definitely increasing," said Chris Lewa, coordinator of Rohingya advocacy group Arakan Program, who regularly interviews those who make the journey. "In more and more stories I have heard recently, the Rohingya have been detained in Malaysia." Several of the 10 witnesses cited the brokers as telling them they had bribed Malaysian immigration officials to turn a blind eye when they crossed the border. Reuters found no direct evidence of corruption by Malaysian officials. 5 immigration officials were arrested in 2009 for working with a smuggling syndicate to traffic Rohingya into the country. "We didn't see any officials on the Malaysian side," said Karimullah, a 17-year-old from Mongdo Township, who spent more than 3 months in the Thai camp and was held by the traffickers in a house in the northern Malaysian city of Alor Star. The brokers said they had already given money to them. Officials from Malaysia's immigration department, the Prime Minister's office, and police in Penang and Kedah states did not respond to the request for comment. The surge of Rohingya trafficking activity in Malaysia followed a series of raids to harass human smugglers and drive them from illegal camps dotted across remote areas of southern Thailand. In 2 raids in January, Thai police rescued and detained more than 600 Rohingya and Bangladeshis. Abdulhamid and several other witnesses described chaotic scenes on the Thai side of the border in recent weeks as their captors moved them from camp to camp and hurried them over the border before they had time to secure payments from their relatives. The guards said the police would come and drop a bomb on the camp and we had to move into Malaysia, Hamid said. Increasingly overcrowded and deadly conditions in the makeshift jungle camps in Thailand could be another reason for the shift of operations in Malaysia. "We couldn't get enough food or water. People are dying with terrible pains in their body," said Isub, a 20-year-old from Sidway, who estimates that 45 people died in 15 days at his camps in January. Many of those involved in Rohingya trafficking are Rohingya themselves, according to the Reuters interviews and the Arakan Project's Lewa. Muhammad Aslam's arms bear cuts and burn marks from where he says cigarettes were stomped out on him by Rohingya brokers during 7 days he spent in captivity in a locked dark room in Penang with other 20 victims. The 21-year-old former shopkeeper said he was sold to another group of brokers who drove him and 3 others across Malaysia to the east coast town of Kota, where the torture continued for 4 days in a 3-story house. Finally, he saw a chance to escape. When one of his captors went to the toilet, he said he rushed the remaining one and bolted into the street. It feels worse when those from Arakan state hurt us. They are our own people, said Aslam, speaking in Kuala Lumpur days after his brother picked him up from Kotang.